How'd you turn that on?
Welcome back to Nationwide Arena. Tom Reed, columnist Michael Arace, Aaron Portzline. Gentlemen, this looked like the Blue Jackets were on their way to another victory tonight. We're up by multiple goals several times in this game, and for the first time in a long time, things fell apart in the third period. And you hate to really pin it on one guy, but backup goaltender Curtis McElhaney had a tough night in allowing 3 third-period goals. Yeah,
and they looked nervous, I thought, when I think it became apparent to everybody in the building that McElhaney was struggling with a lot of shots. The one that they got away with that goes through his pad and comes to rest on the post, even that it's a lucky bounce, but even that unnerves the goaltender. You can just see the play fade and fall apart. They kind of pushed back a little bit after New York made it 4-4 or 4-4 coming back from a 4-1 deficit, and then, as fate would have it, Seth Jones, who's been so good this season, flubs the puck at the Rangers' blue line, and who does he flub it to? Fastest guy on the team, Michael Grabner, who goes for second breakaway goal of the night, and with 16.5 seconds left. They looked shaken, I thought, as this game went along.
Final score 5-4. Mike, we've talked all year that these were the type of games that they would lose last year, and for the most part, that has not happened to them. They were 18-0-2 when holding a lead after the second period. Is this a one-off? Is it just Curtis McElhaney a bad night, or is there any thought for any concern?
I would kind of futz my answer and say a little bit of everything. They're going to have games like this again. Not exactly like this, because there was more than just the Jones turnover at the end. For instance, there was a turnover, or Jack Johnson, a misread right at center ice that led to a 2-on-1 goal. Right. They could have got out of the first period with a 3-0 lead, if not for that read. So there was some of that stuff that happened. It's going to happen again, maybe not in this concentration, or not this often in a single game. They're going to lose some games. It's almost like they've lost 2, and it feels like the end of the world. Like they'll never win again. But they will win again. I think they probably win tomorrow with Bob back in the net against Philadelphia and stanch this bleeding against Metropolitan Division teams.
They have a huge lead as far as the playoffs, and it's going to go all season with this Metro race because the teams are really bunched up. The Penguins are right there, the Rangers and Capitals are right there. But I think the bigger question this game raises is the state of their backup goaltending, Aaron. And you hate to say that after just one real poor performance by CMAC, but this is a question I think that is going to be on a lot of fans' minds tonight.
Yeah, and let's be honest, this has been a question that they started asking, I think, last summer and in training camp, who is going to be the backup goaltender? I think McElhaney did very well to buy himself time, and really he was really good in training camp and came through it. I don't think the question ever really went away in terms of when this team goes into the playoffs, who is going to be the backup goaltender. I think that is a bigger question mark now, and maybe they look to Cleveland the next time they need a backup, which could be on the next week trip to Florida.
They have got a couple back-to-backs coming in the next 2 weeks. Throw this to our columnist, Mike. Beyond just the idea of having a guy that can go in there and win you a game or get you a point, when there is questions about your backup goalie, then all of a sudden you're playing Bob maybe too much, and you want Bob to be as fresh as possible coming down the stretch and for those playoffs. That's the second part of this, isn't it?
Well, definitely, because he's going to need to be spelled. They have a regularity of games ahead of them, and especially you felt it tonight with another Metro opponent in your building, and that's a game they should have won if not for the goaltending. That's another wrinkle in this is you can't have your backup goalie losing games that you should have won, and the coach all but admitted that much in his postgame. I was just looking up the Monsters. They just lost 2-1 in a shootout. So somebody, either Forsberg or Korpisalo, played very well tonight. Korpisalo has taken the net back by and large after an awful start. He's 5-5, pending who was in the net tonight, and but he's given up a few goals lately. So I don't know. I don't know if they they trust what they have down there right now to come in and be a contributing backup.
The good thing is, I don't want to say that they've got time here to figure it out. I don't want to say that they've got such a lead that they can be cool about it, because I don't think this franchise is of that mindset for sure. But they don't have to have the answer for that position for a while yet.
No.
They can bring a guy up from Cleveland. They may even want to look at the guys in Cleveland for a little bit of time before they decide to go outside the organization and get a guy. But you're right, we were talking about it earlier. Can this team go into the playoffs with Bobrovsky, McElhinney as their goaltenders?
Right, and again, my bigger issue, again, the bigger issue for me is that you don't want to have Bob playing all these games, because then you worry about him tiring out for the playoffs, in the playoffs.
Yes, and we broke it down earlier today, but they played all these games against the West. They haven't played a lot of games in the Metro. There's some huge games coming up here. Right. I mean, really heavy games. I think they wanted to see, can we use Curtis McElhinney against a division opponent and a rival? And again, is one game an answer? I don't know. But it's information that they have to process.
And the frustrating part here is they did play very well for 2+ periods in this game. I thought their performance from the other players, for the most part, was enough.
The power play goal at the end, at the beginning of the third period.
I'm sorry.
The Rangers power play goal. That was it. That was when they're like, oh my God, we have to block every shot. And we got to score 2 more goals. Right. Yeah. And that's when Lundqvist kind of stepped up his game a little bit, because he was fighting it early.
Huge save on Seth Jones after the Dubinsky line. You were talking about, they kind of got back into the game at 4-4. They had a great chance, and Lundqvist made a great save on Jones.
Yeah, what a humbling game. Jones has that moment right there.
Oh, he's been so good. He's been so good.
And it easily could have been 5-4. Blue Jackets right then.
Yeah.
And then there in the final second again, the one thing you can't do, the one person you can't do it to, and the one moment where maybe you have a goaltender that you trust the least, that you've trusted one all season. It all comes together there in the final.
Cause for concern. Bobrovsky has had, regular injuries, and so you don't want to wear him out. And Jackets fans will well remember the first time they made the playoffs, and Hitch rode Steve Mason.
Excellent point.
He had to, but he rode Steve Mason right into the ground.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, he had to. You're right. And Mason again. It was the Red Wings, of course. Right. Those were really good. That was a really good team. But Mason had nothing left.
No.
When it got time to the playoffs.
And he played hurt too down the stretch there too.
Back spasms, everything.
Yeah. All right. We'll be back here tomorrow night. The Blue Jackets play the Flyers at 6 o'clock. Check out dispatch.com for this man's column, his analysis and stuff, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.